All right. So now this next clip, there's been conspiracy theory that Trump didn't get shot in the ear and it was shrapnel. And that's now been put to rest by the highest authorities in those hearings. We put that on the record. There is the thought, can they stage this? I know Trump worked with wrestling. I saw him shave Jim McMahon or Vince McMahon's. Jim McMahon was the quarterback from 1986 Bears with the headband. Vince McMahon is the guy with the really devious sexual relations documents, legal stuff with the hooker and all that stuff that just came out recently. Very gross stuff. Anyway, Trump and Vince McMahon, business associates, you know, they did the wrestling clip, and if we have it, we'll find it and show it. But I don't put it past them to stage something in politics. I don't care who's involved. They do shit like that. So is it possible that they had a really, like, the world's best shooter shoot just his ear from that building or from the roof? Well, you know, let's see. Is that a real thing? Can you just shoot someone's ear? What type of optic would you need to do that? What type of rifle, round, and et cetera, to do just the ear and not blow the guy's head off? Because that's a real difference. If you're trying to like get him votes to be president and you blow his head off, like that's a real opposite, you know, type of strategy. So I don't think it will be an approved strategy, but let's just see if it's a realistic strategy, because if it's not realistic, then we know it definitely is not approved, that they're not going to shoot at their own guy because he's already going to win. Unless they subvert the guy, he's winning by a landslide. Everybody's sick of the whole other side of the agenda and the unfreedom and very communist, like being like they're being upfront. There's an American Communist Party now and stuff like that, right? I mean, I guess there always has been, but they have a new version. They got new logos and stuff, is my point. So let's go to Brandon Herrera, LD. It's a long video. So can we just go to where he takes the long shot first and then fast forward to where he sets up for the ear shot? Because spoiler alert, you can't hit the ear, but we'll see what happens from far away. And you do hit the ear if you're from 10 feet away, right? Nobody was 10 feet away from Trump, so no one faked shooting his ear like that. But I think it's a colorful illustration. Also goes to show about the absence of a splatter cone around Crooks's alleged head on that roof. You know, it's just a stream of blood. You're going to see how, you know, cranium contacts are replicated, because you can't use real heads for this, right? You have to go overseas to do that type of practice. Over here, we are just allowed to use watermelons and video demonstrations. Apparently, that you got to appease the YouTube people, I guess. So then the second clip comes from Gray Hughes Investigates. We covered a clip from him last week, I think. Incredible new video, shooter running out on the roof. And this was where the world was first seeing some of this footage that aired on Fox, and then people speculated like he gets shot during that footage and it's a snuff film. There's a whole bunch of innuendo type stuff we'll analyze, but let's first get these two pieces on the record going. First to Brandon Herrera.
On July 13th, 2024, an attempt was made on the life of the 45th president of the United States and potentially 47th, Donald Trump. I believe 130 to a hawk shot would have been the stage. So we have our stand-in ballistic dummy target here, and we are going to walk back and pace out about 130 yards. It was between, I believe, 130 to 150 yards is where the shot was taken. Let's go on the inside of that and do 130 just to give the most benefit of the doubt here. For context, this is approximately 130 yards. See what that looks like down the sight. So we were just back there at like 130 yards trying to get that through the dot. Would any of you stand at 130 yards and let me take a shot on your ear?
I wouldn't let you do that at 2 yards.
Well, that's just because you're a pussy. Because the other thing that, like, trying to explain to people on the internet, especially the experts on Twitter, they don't understand, like, MOA. So, like, when you have a garbage tier AR-15 that's, you know, a DPMS from fucking 15 years ago that was his dad's gun, you're doing like a 2 to 3 MOA. So 3 inches, let's say, at 100 yards. Some would say too much. 3 inches at 100 yards is now at 150. That's 4.5 inches difference. You know what's suspiciously 4.5 inches to the left of your right ear? Well,
wait, which way?
There's air. You absolutely, like, this dot covered a good chunk of the head. at that distance at 130. Yeah, no bipod, super elevated heart rate, no magnification. So a lot of people were saying like, well, yeah, you could just zoom in a scope like Call of Duty, huh? No, it's not. It's not a scope. This is not like a fucking sniper weapon. This right here is a 1 magnification. So it's 0 mag. It's literally just looking through a piece of glass with a dot on it. So yeah, now hopefully you have a better idea of why saying that the ear shot was specifically staged using that setup at like 150 yards is just fucking stupid, frankly. But speaking of fucking stupid, there's another conspiracy theory that, of course, Trump was not hit by a bullet because bullets, you know, expand and they have, you know, a crazy temporary cavity and it would have taken his whole head off and all sorts of shit. And he was hit by flying glass that came from fucking, I don't know, it's Twitter. So we're gonna recreate to the best of our ability the path of the bullet going through a small strip of flesh, the ear here, and show exactly what that would do to a human ear. Now, in order to actually capture the bullet as it's grazing through the ear, we would need some serious high speed. Maybe even ballistic high speed.
Did someone say high speed?
I don't know why they keep doing.
Why did you invite us, Brent?
It's like a bit or something. I don't. So 100,000 frames per second. That should be plenty enough to catch a bullet like that because it's traveling at what, 3,000 feet a second, roughly.
So this will slow down time 3,000 to 4,000 times slower than normal.
Perfect. Well, let's get to it, guys.
Let's do it.
Now, we don't really care about distance on this one since, I mean, the ballistics are going to be negligible. If anything, closer distance should do more damage. So if this just rips right through the ear like it did in real life, then that should definitively prove it. So let's, I just want to make sure we get the most accurate shot possible. Firing.
Did I see a jiggle?
Did you? Oh, I barely clipped the ear. I clipped it right on the side, not on the top. I clipped him like right there in the middle.
We're gonna have to look for like a vibration. Oh,
yep, there it was.
Oh, you definitely grazed the ear.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Whoa.
Damn.
That was like edge of the bullet. Yeah.
I know. That was, I think we could get closer. Yeah, so I think he actually got hit right up here. Okay. The bullet impact was right there. You could see where it just grazed the very edge of like the middle of his ear. But we're gonna try to go for the meat.
What I find the most interesting is that the whole head is still there.
That's kind of crazy. I thought it would have disappeared. Firing. Oh yeah, I think that was it. Oh yeah, that was the fucking money shot right there.
That's a perfect sim there.
How's his head still connected?
I don't know, this is crazy. I don't think a bullet actually hit him.
Like his neck's not broken. I don't.
Where did you get the glass to
I'm taking ballistic out of my name because I clearly don't understand them.
Oh, that was fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Piercing. Yo, dude.
That's wild.
What'd they say? Don't get your ears pierced at Claire's?
When Trump said it felt like he got hit by something, you can see the vibration. It'd feel like someone kind of slapped you on the ear.
I was just going to say, I'm actually personally surprised that it had that much temporary cavity, that much expansion.
But notice how the head is still there.
Yeah, if you play it all in full speed, it's like, well, that's very unfucking impressive.
Right.
But
I mean, everybody's making fun of his ear bandage in his speech, saying like, oh, he's wearing a big bandage for sympathy or whatever. You just saw his ear explode from cavitation from getting hit by a gun. Like,
yeah, it looked okay because I know he was golfing the next day, which talk about fucking Chad energy right there.
I mean, Evander Holyfield finished the round, so I mean.
Yeah, well, to be fair, you got, assassination attempt at 8, but you've got a tea time at 9 a.m. Like, yeah, it's what you gonna do. A lot of people talk about how Trump turned his head at the last minute. That's what saved his life. And it's really easy to see. Like, there's graphics and shit of it, but now that we have a ballistic dummy here, you can actually plainly see the trajectory the bullet took to go through the ear the way that it did. If his head was tilted the way that it was before he went to go look at that graph, it's hitting a lot of, the really important lizard brain stuff that makes you, continue to breathe. So him turning his head at the last minute got a lot of the vital part of his brain out of the way of that bullet, which is just, talk about luck. We might be having a very different conversation had that not been the case. I think that is what would qualify as too soon. Speaking of too soon, you want to gank the shooter?
Oh, God, yes.
So now let's talk about something that the Secret Service would have been using to take out the nameless nerd and virgin. This right here is an Accuracy International 300 Win Mag. Accuracy International is like the Lamborghini of bolt guns as far as like not getting something stupid custom done. Very, very nice rifle. I've been shooting this setup a little bit this last couple days. Fucking amazing gun. Better be, because they're like 15 grand. Got our 300 Win Mag spicy boys right here. Gonna load it on up. Keep the bolts open though for now. Got a Badger Ordnance scope mount with a Night Force ATAC scope, topped off with an RRS tripod. These things are very expensive and very nice. I've never really shot with one before the last couple days, and it is amazing. It's really like cheating. Now I know how they were able to pop that shot off so quick and so accurately after the first round was fired.
Hawkeye's here! Hawkeye's here! Move it this way!
It's a funny story. I bought this whole setup from Euro Optic, and I was not paying very close attention because I knew I needed to get this video out quickly. So I was in a rush. I bought an Accuracy International bolt gun, and I didn't realize I bought the wrong one. I bought one with a left-handed bolt, not super useful to a right-handed shooter like me. I called up Euro Optic, told them the situation. I got somebody on the phone in like 30 minutes. They helped me out. Not because I had a contact there. I was a random customer who spent my own money on this gun, and I fucked up. Their shipping guys got it squared away right off the bat, and I had it in time for the video. Then we told them what we were doing with the video, and they wanted to be a part of it, so they actually ended up sending us out this tripod and really just hooking us up. So we really appreciate Euro Optic for not only just having a great customer service experience, like genuinely I was impressed, but also just for a genuinely good customer service experience and for helping us get all this stuff out here in time to film this video. So we really appreciate Euro Optic for helping us out with this. Show them some love, please. Now, you want to see somebody's head pop? POV, you see this popping up over a slanty roof. So now the fun part, we're going to replicate the shot that Secret Service took on the would-be assassin here. Not 100% clear, judging by some of the photos that I've seen, exactly where he was shot and where it exited, so I'm gonna take some creative liberty. I know he was shot in the head. So now we're gonna see in about 100,000 frames per second exactly what was going through his head. So he kind of looks like Harry Potter now that I think about it.
Why's his teeth so straight?
Yeah, his teeth are kind of straight.
What is that, a jaw? This isn't accurate.
I need to kind of carve some of that away, make it a little flatter down here. Kind of concave his head in a little bit. Don't worry, we'll do that part actually in here in a second.
Yeah, I think the 300 Win Mag will take good care of him.
Godspeed, little asshole.
Without further ado, let's go ahead and take this shot. Firing. 3, 2, 1. I think we hit him. Wow. Holy shit.
That is violent.
That's graphic.
His brain.
His brain's laying on the ground back here.
Oh, that looks more like his jawline. Bet you won't do that again. Dude, that is genuinely like a fucking 3,200 feet per second decapitation.
He fell down.
I can't. A loud noise was heard and he fell.
Wait till you see this.
Based on how fucking cool it looked 150 yards away, it's gonna look pretty cool. That looks just like him.
Jesus Christ. Well, it looked like him at some point in his life.
Oh.
That looks more like him now.
So you did clip the glasses.
Oh, really? Okay, good. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it shattered it.
I was aiming for the glasses. The left
hit him,
side
like,
glasses.
right here on the bridge of it.
Oh, it's turning his all the force is still pulling his skull backwards.
Oh yeah, because I hit him technically on his right side, so he spun. Well, so the death photo didn't quite look like that, but we were also using like ballistic tip shit and all. Yeah.
It ignites stuff inside of his head. Right?
It absolutely does. You see the flash.
That's probably the metal off of the...
It's the radio the CIA was playing the messages through.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Well, I believe the president is safe. Not gonna lie, I was a little graphic. That was probably a little unnecessary. But hopefully some of the stuff that we talked about today dispels a few of the myths. There's a lot of a lot of misinformation going around. A lot of people who really don't know what they're talking about, weighing in and spreading a lot of conspiracy stuff that really doesn't make sense. And, you know, while stuff like this is kind of fun in a way that, you know, doing science is fun, doing ballistic stuff is kind of fun, I think it does kind of go without saying that the message that we're trying to get out here today is just data, trying to put right some conspiracy theories and things going around. This isn't any sort of message toward political violence. I shouldn't have to say it, but that's obviously not what we're about. That's not what we're talking about today, and that's not the point of living in the greatest country in the world. We have a constitutional republic, a representative democracy where we're allowed to express our differences and decide together as a country at the ballot box exactly what direction we want this country to go in. That's the proper way to go about it, and if you think the alternative of taking innocent life is acceptable, or if that's the thing you should do, well, that's your fate. Anyhow, I had a lot of fun today. I appreciate the help of our friends over at Ballistic High Speed for helping us get that fucking amazing shot.
High-speed footage.
Delicious is a good word. I like it. But no, I appreciate you guys. You guys fucking suck. I don't know why I invite you to shit anymore, dude. Fuck you guys. I'll see you on the Unsubscribed podcast, and I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video, assuming I don't get a strike for this. I shouldn't, but that's never stopped them before. Appreciate it, guys.
Fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon like Rasputin's rise to.
Hello, this is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today, Fox News Digital put out some amazing new video that was actually taken by one of the two victims that survived. And it's him filming the stage, and you actually see Thomas Crooks running up on the AGR building behind. So let's take a look at what they have. Right over there. I'll see right there. So right there you can see him running across. And it does show that, you know, from this angle, you know, you can only see like the upper portion of his torso. So what's amazing is nobody saw him there. So let's take a look at this in context. Now that we know that he's running across right here, it does seem very, very likely that he climbed up the roof right here. So here is an image that the Secret Service put out yesterday in the hearing. And during that, this seemed to match what law enforcement was saying about him stepping up on top of a mechanical device and then climbing up piping. So right here, he steps up on there, climbs across, and then he's running across. Now, what's crazy about that is how come nobody here saw him? You know, going down below, they were just looking at him. I mean, we actually mentioned this last night as the possibility on the show, that he was sitting on this cement wall here, and then moments later, not too long later, he runs this way and goes up onto the building. Now, it's also possible, I guess, that he climbed up back here and he runs this way and then goes over, just sort of has a skip across to run across that way, but that's not very likely. It makes it seem like almost for certain that at this point he climbed up onto this bridge here and then ran this direction, and that's where the shots came from. Now, we also came upon that conclusion yesterday on my show because there's a camera that films him climbing up on the roof. And so as you can see, there's nothing on this side of the building over here, a business that would film him climbing up over there. So it seemed much more likely that a business, perhaps this one, or even a business over here, we were looking at on the show last night. If you go down to Street View right here, and let's just say you're one of these businesses that has a camera that doesn't use motion to set it off, you can actually see all the way over to the AGR building, which is right over there. You could literally see him go up there, climb up, and run across. So that camera, if you probably sync it up, shows him literally climbing up the building. And when I say that camera, I just mean maybe there's one on one of these buildings over here that is always running and was able to film him way over there, climb up, get onto the roof. We speculated about this last night on the show. So if you look at the video today, it seems to absolutely corroborate that because he's running across like this. All right, so I put this clip in sequence with a whole bunch of the other clips. Now, why don't we take a look at that video right now that shows the whole sequence of events.
He's a good man, too. He's a valiant fighter. He's a great, great gentleman. So we're going to bring him up for can we bring him up for a couple of minutes later? A little bit later. All right, you get ready, McCormick. You get ready. I'll get you up here. The world will see a vibrant Republican Party that is bigger, stronger, more confident, and more united than ever before. And that's what we are. We're the most united party. Now, I'm watching the fake news go crazy because they're saying the Republican Party has not been united since Ronald Reagan like it is right now. It was united under Ronald Reagan the second time. It was very united. And they said there's never been anything like it. They've never seen a movement like this. Make America great again. You know, Joe Biden talks about we have to stop MAGA. MAGA means make America great again, Joe. It means make America great again. That's all we want to do. If he was doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with the gorgeous ocean, the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look.
Thank you.
There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And still I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a senator elected and to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it. And it's easy because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here. And it's much tougher than if it happened. You know, we had the strongest border ever. In recorded history, we had the best border. In fact, if they could ever put up a chart, I don't know if they can do it. Do you guys have access to that chart that I love so much? You don't mind if I go off teleprompter, do you? Because these teleprompters are so damn boring, I try and explain that. Oh, there's it. Wow. You guys are doing it. They're getting better with time. My guys, take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow, right? So that's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit over that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened. I got you, sir. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir. Hold on, your head is bloody. So we gotta move to the car. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes out. My shoes.
Watch out. Wait.
Wow. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible, you guys. Just seeing the guy running on the roof, and now we know exactly where he came from. And I think what we were speculating on last night on my show, and that's why you should be watching my show, is because we've been really close to what the reality is the entire time. Okay? It looks like now, after watching and looking at some of these images, this one right here, and just below this shot would be the cement wall that he was sitting on, that a picture of him was taken.
Keep that up on screen. All right, so right next to that drain pipe, there's a built-in ladder on that side of the building. There's rungs. So there's not the side pieces, but there are rungs, if I'm recalling correctly from identifying the buildings in that scene. The other aspect is that's a picture from the far windows in that building. The window that we identified in the first or second week that was open was the closest one to that causeway. It was the closest one to Crooks. It's only a few feet away. Who was in that room? That was the command center. So the official story is you just saw Crooks, allegedly him, running on that roof. That's right in front of a whole second floor of snipers, a command center on the second floor, and he's running on top of a building that has a dozen to 20 officers in it. Help me understand how that goes on again. And we're supposed to believe it. Maybe we're not supposed to believe it. They definitely want us to know that Crooks kid was there, that he was noticed. And that leads you to think that he acted alone, and maybe it's just some incompetency. But when Crooks can fly his drone on the day of, when Secret Service should be flying their drone, but they're fixing it, they refuse the access from local police department drones because they're like, hey, we have a DJI Maverick or whatever they use, and they could throw it up there and they could see you could have the bird's eye view, the drone's eye view, the eye in the sky, Overwatch, all these things that they always tell you they're doing. That's part of protocol. All those counter snipers that we've had clips of on the show, they all told you the first thing they see is like the high ground is not covered. It's like 101 of any type of defensive strategy for thousands of years. So you're only gaslighting the people who don't know any better, the people who don't know how to defend themselves or their families or their communities, who have never had family history of defending this country. They're only gaslighting their own soy people with these types of stories. Scott, does any of that work on you? Are you being gaslit?
No, not at all. And you know, we watched that video clip last week or the week before from the ground where the guy was filming, the cops are running around the building, and it's like, so they already had police like there stationed on that building, obviously, or they were able to get there really quickly. So obviously it was a place of concern to begin with. So, you know, leaving that roof unattended is just completely just unbelievable. And then, yeah, the view, I mean, this has just been said over and over, like the view from that building where they say they had people stationed, clear line of sight to him running on the roof. There's absolutely no way that they just let him do it. They let him do it. Whether or not, now the question is, it's beyond a doubt that they let him do it. Now it's like, who's involved? How high up does this go? What's going on there? So it's without
and how
question.
they wind up Crooks and, you know, all the other, there's still how they did their terror storm type of techniques, right? The Terror Factory. Actually, don't we have a clip Genie montage of Terror Factory that I saw somewhere floating around? I opened it, but I opened a lot of tabs tonight. Yeah, it was in the production chat earlier, so I'll get it into the show card. But we have a next block to go to. So now there's a bunch of speculation on. So the Copenhagen film is a whole interesting. So first off, these are videos, they're not films, but don't be pedantic because that's boring. The Copenhagen video, the Crooks allegedly running across that roof line that they showed on Fox that was just analyzed by Gray Hughes. That comes from James Copenhagen, who's one of the guys who gets shot by Crooks. So it's really ironic. And so anyway, that footage, it just dropped. We're going to get to that after this block. It'll be another Chris Martenson peak prosperity analysis. There's going to be one in this block. It's not that piece of footage. So in this block is explosive new evidence Stewart film. Now, we watched it at the end of last week's show. It had just come out, and we were seeing some like rough clips of it. Since then, Dave Stewart, spelled Dayve, because he has to, like, I don't know, hide. It's on YouTube. He uploaded a bunch of clips. I watched through them. The one with his interrogation where they came and found him in that parking lot and he doesn't have a phone because they took it, how they found him. These things are pretty interesting. So I am going to include that clip. But first, we're going to go to Peak Prosperity. The Stewart video blows the official narrative out of the water. And then we do have a stabilized version of this shaky Dave footage that we're going to see. So it's going to be interesting. Dave Stewart is a guy in a red t-shirt who is in other videos. Because my question was, like, who's the guy who shot this video? Why was he videotaped? You know, the normal questions. And it seems interesting enough, authentic enough, though. A guy who works at Sheetz, like, you know, could be at that whole scene observing. Like, I'm just thinking, where are the dancing Israelis to this situation? Maybe this is part of it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's go to Chris Martinson of Peak Prosperity first, and then we'll go to the Trump rally stabilized, and then we'll get to the bonus interrogation audio footage that he got pretty cleverly as they surprised him in his car while he was like sleeping, probably. All right, let's go to Chris.
This is absolutely explosive, folks. We have new film to analyze. It confirms and begins to move into the green zone, the two-shooter hypothesis, and raises more troubling questions about the Secret Service. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Chris Martinson here with another episode of a citizen's investigation into the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. And we have some really big news today because we have a whole new film to analyze, and it is a treasure trove of information. I'm talking about the David J. Stewart film. I'm going to call it the Stewart film from here on out. And it might as well be the Zapruder film of our time. On the left over there, you see the Zapruder film. Down here, that is a shot of Crooks taken from a frame from this David J. Stewart film. By the way, I spent a full hour talking with David just the other night. I got the whole backstory. There's a lot there. I can't wait to tell you about all of that. But first, we're going to have to go through some of this film because this is really, really important. We get this out now on time, again, so that we can begin to get data and evidence into the conversation. As a reminder, I work with evidence first. Then witnesses might say stuff, and then there's like strange things you might see on film that are artifacts. But first, we start with the evidence. So let's go there because this is really powerful today. For today, we're going to be orienting all of us to the Stewart film pretty much frame by frame so we can analyze the audio of the first 9 shots because this is hard data. And wait till you see what we've got. This is I've been up all weekend. Analyzing the audio of shots 1 through 3 versus 4 through 8 versus 9. We're going to analyze this. We'll do a full analysis. I'll take you what I know, where we still have some uncertainties. As well, we're going to be able to show Crooks on the roof, double red exclamation points after the regular black one. And then finally, a schematic analysis drawn for us by a professional architect so that we can actually get a bead on the position advantage that Sniper Team 2 had. They're sitting on Building 14 as they overlooked what's called Building 6 in the AGR complex. The Stewart film, it does support the hypothesis that there were 2 shooters beyond the official shooters, which we know was an ESU agent taking a shot. They haven't told us exactly when or where that happened yet. We still don't know. But also a Secret Service sniper Secret Service has admitted so far to taking 1 shot. And, of course, the security lapses that are completely inexcusable. That just jumps right out on this tape. That's for tomorrow. But first, here is the film, and this is just a chunk right around the shooting itself. Let's listen in together.
Make yourself small, bro. I don't know what's going on.
That's David Stewart. That last shot you just heard was the inbound round allegedly from Secret Service. I believe that's true. I think that's the case. And here we can see a variety of things in the immediate aftermath of all those shots. First, we saw that there were police everywhere walking around, some of them with guns drawn right before the shooting. Second, we can see all sorts of people lined up. We're going to be analyzing all of that. But for today, our job is to try and figure out what exactly happened during those shots, because this is the hardest evidence we have. And what we're seeing and hearing in this audio now is confirming what we heard from our other sources, in particular the sources on the west side of Building 6 of the AGR complex. That would be what we called sources 2 and 4. We're going to be comparing this to source 4. I think this makes things get really, really clear, but let me know what you decide. I don't want to lead the witness too much here, so with my laser pointer out now, this is 3 and 4 we analyzed. We've analyzed all of these audio sources so far. 1 is Trump's mic. 2 is a very, very important recording. This is in between where the shots came from, and Trump's mic gives us a lot of information. And then 5 was out here, a little bit murky, but gives us important information again. And then, but this is the new one right here. This is the orientation. This gentleman, David Stewart, is sitting right here at the time, and he's shots 1 through 3. He's here, and then he runs and he actually trips, and then he gets back up and repoints his camera. Shots 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. He's pointing this way. The orientation is really important. This is such a great recording. This is absolutely the Zapruder film of our time. And in his film as well, you are going to see this fence line appear quite a bit, mostly in the stuff that we're presenting tomorrow, but you might get a peek of it here today. So this is a fence line that a lot of people were up against. And then there's another fence line way back in here, which is where number 2 source was up against this fence line. So there's a fence here that comes in and goes across, and then there's another fence here that separates the Butler Fairgrounds here from the AGR complex. So David is on this other far side of the fence, the north side up here, basically right at the action. So here is the precise location. I took his download of his video, I put it into a video editor, and I went through it frame by frame. So when you see 4:56:11, don't worry about the timings. That's the timing that I got because I had a 9-minute, 26-second video to work from. It doesn't mean anything else except that 4 minutes, 56 seconds, and 11 frames into that particular video that I had is when the shot happened. But this allows me to very, very accurately time the shots, see that everything lines up with everything else we have. But this is the exact precise orientation of his camera for shot 1. So if you heard that, hey, bro, make yourself small, something's going on, and then you heard, he's got a gun in the background, 3 seconds later, the shots ring out, first shot rings out, and this is his camera at that exact moment. For shot 2, he's starting to move a little, his camera's off a bit, but this camera is also facing northwest. So shot 1, north would be facing the building directly. It's a little west, so it's facing northwest a little bit. And then here, we're still northwest. We're a little tilted, but camera's almost in identical position. Shot 3 is the only one that's really off axis in this whole series. So an incredible job filming, really. So he's ducking and covering. This one, you can see the corner of the building right here, and this. So this, let me see. It would be this corner right here that is you're seeing right here. So he's a little off axis, facing the sky northeast. So shot 3 is this way, but by shot 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, here's 4, here's 5 happens just a quarter second later, so that policeman does not move too far, and you can see he's got his gun drawn, and didn't draw it after the shot started. There are police running all over the place with guns drawn well before the shots happen. So, of course, you have questions like I do, which is like, really? By the time guns are drawn, by the time police are so alarmed that they have weapons out, you would think somebody would have gotten Trump off the stage. And of course, you wouldn't be the only one. Everybody in this audience, and I was asking Dave about it, he was actively, openly questioning at the time, at the moment, why is Trump on the stage? Why is he there still? Like, people are talking about it. It was the most mysterious thing because it was like the most common, it was the most obvious thing ever. Trump should not have been on the stage. So obviously, Secret Service has a lot to answer for in this particular story, and we'll get to more of that tomorrow, too. So here's shot 5. Again, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very fast. Here's 4. Here's 5. Here's 6. Here's 7. His camera's just come off of that police officer a little bit. And here's 8 facing kind of north-northwest. It's almost exactly in the same position as camera is for shot 1, except he's clearly over a few feet and he's down a few feet. But not that many, because we can still see here this is the 2-story building back here. Here are the vent stacks. Here are all of these windows. And by the way, frame by frame analysis, I can't see any open windows here because I see reflections off of all of them. We could do a frame by frame if we wanted to together, but I don't see any of these windows actually being open. And then shot number 9, he's come back a little bit, facing more north now. I would have north-northwest, or is this north? It's just a tiny bit northwest. So I could almost call this one due north at this point in time. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 3 is the camera kind of up this way, but for all the rest of them, it's basically on action. So that's incredible. Now, this is what we see pulling the audio from that particular video. Here we're going to listen to what. Oh, get my thingy back. So now we get to listen. All I've done here in this, the only thing I've done is I have reduced a little bit of the noise in between these shots, because this is where he falls. It's like makes a kind of distracting noise. So I've just reduced that by 15 decibels. But now we're going to listen to 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. That's what we're seeing here. These top, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So the first job is just listen, see what you hear. I won't, no more leading the witness. What do you hear? Okay. So what I hear in that is a very, very different aspect, and we're going to compare a couple of these directly against each other, just so you can hear it too. But the first thing is there's a pew, pew, pew on the first 3, and then it's like tunk, 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 tunk on those 5, and then shot 9 is just totally different weapon as well. Here, let me just break this down a little bit. So let's go to this. This is and get my. Tell you what, maybe I can get my pen out and see if we can do some drawing. So first thing, before I do that, laser pointer, shot 9, let's just dispense with this right away. It has this very odd characteristic. It has two signatures coming in hot. And it sounds like one thing, but it's kind of a very weird signature. We're going to analyze this more for what it means, but you can clearly see it's got this double peak, like, it's a very different thing. I don't know if that's a shot and an echo, or if this is an inbound round, supersonic round snicking in. I don't know what this is yet. So this is a complete mystery. It does not line up with the other audio I have out by Trump's mic, where we might say, oh, if there was a sniper out beyond Trump, we should hear that because they might have shot. And this could be actually a really, really good shot. Somebody starts shooting, and within seconds, an inbound round came in and took Crooks out, which means that last shot, which we know was taken by Secret Service snipers, well, then that's a fiction that was the one that killed him. But as well, when did the ESU person take their shot? So mystery still, we should know all of this. There should have been plenty of press conferences. But before we go too much further, you can see here in these 3, right here, there is a very clear difference in these 3 shots across here than these 5, just looking at the audio signature. So what we're looking at here is, this is a frequency analysis, and it starts from really low down, 0 hertz, meaning, anything sub 200 hertz is very bassy, right? And then as we go up, we're going higher and higher and higher. These are very, very high-pitched things. This is 16,000 up here, which is, if you've got really good, young, fresh ears, you can make it all the way up to 20,000 ish to really hear stuff. So that's this whole range here. So all of these things are lower tones down here, and these are higher tones. So starting at the higher tones, we see a very consistent pattern across the top here.
And then we'll continue back to this media block, but I just wanted to pause it because Chris had several good reports this past week. So the audio analysis and then seeing what you could see in the Dave Stewart footage. And then I want to take you over to YouTube, show you the Dave Stewart footage page so you can see what else is available, like Chris is drawing from. You can also look at the raw footage and try to interpret it. And there's more stuff that he can show you in his clips, these sort of things. So I just want to point you guys toward the source material, but also I wanted to point out the aspect of being able to easily find, like if I wanted to say, how many times have I featured Peak Prosperity clips or Chris Martenson clips? Like I could go over here to Clip Genie and I could scroll through, let's see, quite a few times, right? And if I jump into like a first mention or one of the early mentions, we were talking about Klaus Schwab, and Chris was covering the World Economic Forum during the time of the pandemic, right? So these types of references, super easy to grasp and be able to find and clip out. And I'm going to show you an example here of what Clip Genie has been producing from one of the Grand Theft World Stellar members. But also, I wanted to real quick talk about the map, the perimeter, because everyone's talking about the shooter and all this other stuff. I just wanted to show you something. This is from Chuck Grassley. That he's a senator, and he's one of the ones who disclosed a whole bunch of the evidence and information that is much more highly detailed than many of the reports you're seeing in the hearings. So that's interesting. But what I wanted to draw your attention to is right here. This is a map of the perimeter. You see this? That's a sector, right? That's a parking sector. They got the various sectors down here. So this is a key to the map. And on the map, you see the lines, the colored lines. Now, sector number 1 is the main stage and audience. Okay. And that's up here, this yellow sector. This is sector number 1, main stage and audience. And this is where Crooks was. Do you see how close he was? And he's outside of all this area that they're worried about securing, right? You're going to secure all this area, and you got people sectored out in all those areas, but you don't have anyone who's right here so close to the main stage. You're not going to cover that. Whoever made this plan, sorry, but you're an asshole. Like, there's no way that you don't take the colored lines out this way toward the top of the page. Colored lines, sector covered, big flat spaces where people could get shot, like or shoot at your principal that you're supposed to be guarding on that primary stage. Like this is not good. Crooks could not do this. Crooks could not know that this was planned like this. This was planned intentionally to leave that area unguarded so that someone like him, a crackpot like him, a misguided youth, misguided by who? Older people who were filling him with not true information to get him to do something like that. But maybe a Robert Kagan and the other Hitler comparison people got him to take a perch up there. Also, just from a planning standpoint, if you're going to cover these sectors, what are you covering these sectors for if you're not covering this sector on the other side? Why is this so lopsided? And why does it also look like a dick with fucking balls? Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. Is that just me, Scott? Am I the only one?
No, now that you mention it.
It's a dick with balls. And I didn't draw the colors. This isn't my Crayola.
Yeah, that's pretty absurd, man. Like that's just a stunning visual representation of just the complete oversight from the get-go, just leaving it wide open. They had this plan from top to bottom.
All right, we'll get to Dave Stewart clips in a minute, but first I want to take you over to LD. Let me say no, thank you, YouTube, to watching the Olympics. Watch the beginning of this episode, YouTube. All right, Grand Theft World Inside the Terror Factory. I have not seen this yet, but I expect that the member, occult priestess from Grand Theft World community, who made the clip last week in such stellar fashion, has taken up on the opportunity to do a little more searching. We have mentioned that the FBI creates or manufactures domestic terror in our country. Starting in 1993 World Trade Center bombing, Imad Salem was the informant, confidential informant that the FBI had, and he was supposed to place a fake bomb there so they could catch the guys, and the FBI gave him a real bomb, and he recorded his conversations with his handler, FBI agent John Anticev, Anticev. It's out there. You can listen to the whole 24-minute call. You can hear the whole recording. FBI has been manufacturing terror for a variety of reasons, but mostly deep state, and it's a little bit because they like the budget growth, right? So how many times, how many ways have we referenced The Terror Factory by Tampa Bay journalist Trevor Aronson, published 2015, 2016. How many times on this show and in various ways have we mentioned it? Clip Genie is here to answer that. And thank you to Occult Priestess for using the Clip Genie, for clipping the Clip Genie and posting it so we could find it, so we can share it with you guys right now.
In 1965, Vietnam seemed like just another foreign war, but it wasn't. It was different in many ways, and so were those who did the fighting. In World War II, the average age of the combat soldier was 26. In Vietnam, he was 19. 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 19. According to a Veterans Administration study, half of the Vietnam combat veterans suffer from what psychiatrists call post-traumatic stress disorder. I wasn't really sure what was going on.
Richard Grove has been showing a new program called Clip Genie. And I used Clip Genie to make tonight's show. So, as an example of what Clip Genie can do, I searched one of Richard's favorite books entitled Terror Factory. Using Clip Genie, I was able to search and find the specific words I was looking for and the corresponding timestamp. I just highlighted the text I wanted in the video and pushed a button. Boom, instant clip. All I had to do was download it. Clip Genie is free to use, as in to search someone else's database, such as Grand Theft World. However, if you want to upload your own content to search clips, that will set you back around $50 a month US. So let's see what Clip Genie can do with Terror Factory.
So it is a very good time for the people to start waking up. Our lives will likely depend on it. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
They depend on mainstream media and the toxification of the mind that comes through listening to like the places that purvey those very inaccurate portrayals of reality that we heard in the Matt Orfalea clip.
Yeah.
And there's many more like that on just about every topic that those people talk about on those channels. So much more to be learned. But again, manufacturing of terror is much more convenient. You can do it on a schedule. You get all your budget dates hit and everything like that. You can't be waiting for, people to just randomly go plan to kidnap a governor. But if you get a bunch of your guys involved and suggest it and, step by step these people toward that thing, and then they got too far and you drop the clamp on them, right? That's a bear trap. That's really a man trap in this case, right? The entrapment is part of the whole process. It's described in here. So, we've talked about it on the show. Actually, could we go to Clip Genie and look up Terror Factory or Trevor Aronson? Because I'm pretty sure we have talked about this book in depth on this show, but I can't remember when and where we did it. And if I can't show the evidence, is it really real? Clip Genie, maybe you could find the evidence for us. We can make it real for more people.
Terror Factory. Yeah, we got episode 186, episode 184, 179. Let me just
Can you share your screen?
These are all.
I'll grab a book for you. Watch this. I'll do this live. You can get this book. It's still on Amazon. This is written by a journalist called Trevor Aronson. Right there. Lives in Tampa, Florida. It's called The Terror Factory. Inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terrorism. Let's just go to the inside jacket here. This is promotional. Here we go. A groundbreaking work of investigative journalism, The Terror Factory, inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terrorism, exposes how the FBI has, under the guise of engaging in counterterrorism since 9/11, built a network of more than 15,000 informants whose primary purpose is to infiltrate Muslim communities to create and fabricate phony terrorist plots so that the Bureau can claim them and claim that they're winning the war on terror and, of course, get a bigger budget out of that. So if that's what they were doing to people who were followers of Islam and consider themselves to be Muslims, think about what they're going to do to people who consider themselves to be patriots and freedom and Constitution and all those good things, Bill of Rights, people being equal, all these sort of things. They're going to be probably characterized in the same way if we're going by history and how these groups have operated in the past. The Terror Factory, inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terrorism. See, they're setting themselves a little bear trap for their fellow citizens. Let's get to a little evidence here. Let me put my spectacles on just why you might want to check out a book like this. Because Ahmad Salem, if you're not familiar, that 1993 World Trade Center terrorist bombing that the FBI set up, that's not referenced in this book. For some reason, Trevor Aronson doesn't know about that information. He hasn't heard the tape with FBI agent, FBI agent John Antisev and Ahmad Salem, the informant. And Salem's like, you guys told me you were going to give me a fake bomb, but you gave the real bomb and the whole thing. And Antisev, and they're arguing over expenses on the account for the informant. It's a real shit show. It was brought to court in New York. I think Kubi was one of the lawyers on the side of the defense for Salem. It's a well-known case of constructed terrorism in history, but most people think the 1993 bombing was like Arab terrorists without FBI intervention, which is a no. You shouldn't go and just assume what you saw with those guys on TV at night. Just like Tom Brokaw told you the truth. No.
Emerged out of nowhere, right?
All right, so here's the page. This is from the introduction. This is page 15. By August 2011, with nearly 10 years of terrorism prosecutions since 9/11, we had a database of 508 defendants whom the United States government considered terrorists. The way the data broke down was illuminating. Of the 508 defendants, 243 had been targeted through an FBI informant. 158 had been caught in an FBI terrorism sting, and 49 had encountered an agent provocateur. What? The FBI has agent provocateurs out there, apparently, according to this journalist for Tampa, what he wrote for, where does it say in the jacket here? Trevor Aronson is a co-founder of the Florida Center for Investigative Reporting, a senior fellow at the Schuster Institute for Investigative Journalism. He was 2010-2011 investigative reporting fellow at the University of California, Berkeley, where his reporting about the FBI informants in the U.S. Muslim communities resulted in a Mother Jones cover story that won multiple awards, including the John Jay College Guggenheim Excellence in Criminal Justice Reporting Award, the Mali National Journalism Prize, and the International Data Journalism Award. I still think he wrote for a Tampa newspaper at one point, but I'll have to look up his bio. Anyway, this seems like if all the terrorism was real, why they have to make it up all the time? Out of the 508 cases, I could count on one hand the number of actual terrorists, such as failed New York City subway bomber Zazi, who posed a direct and imminent threat to the United States. Out of 500 cases, he's saying like about 5 were legit. That's like a multiplication of 100, 1 for every 100. So imagine if you just they tell you on TV there's like 100% terrorism, but in reality it's 1%, and they're making up 99% of it with your tax dollars at the fine factory for terrorism called FBI.
Yep.
FBI. Yeah. Sorry. I'm going to put this on a record real quick. Tainting evidence inside the scandals at the FBI crime lab. That's almost as fun a title to say as Terror Factory inside the FBI's Manufactured War on Terror by Trevor Aronson. Tainting Evidence, page 169, dude. All right, here we go.
Excellent.
I'm gonna read it slowly for people in the back who need a little extra time in between the words. The FBI lab had no experience of handling an investigation into this big an explosion. The British, with their long experience of big IRA bombs, had been vital in the investigation of the downing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland in December 1993. But even airline bombings were radically different from attacks on landmark buildings and public places. If this was a bomb and mass terrorism, the FBI lab had little experience to fall back on. Well, golly. What else might we learn from reading a book like this that's really hard to find? Afghan Mujahideen? Didn't we talk about Brzezinski before?
We sure did.
Wasn't he the Mujahideen master?
Operation Cyclone.
Vietnam, he was 19. Vietnam, he was 19. Vietnam, he was 19.
Have you seen the video of Crooks running across the roof that James Copenhaver took yet? If you haven't, stick around. You're going to want to see this because we're analyzing it and taking a look because it tells us a lot. Hello, everyone. Dr. Chris Martinson of Peak Prosperity here, continuing a citizen's investigation. And boy, have we got a great one. This is incredible what we're going to see here today. We're going to be analyzing the James Copenhaver video of Crooks running across the roof. I'm sure you've probably seen it, but if not, wow, you're getting for a surprise. We have to ask the question, did someone let this happen or did someone make it happen? Those are the two hypotheses we're trying to rule out, and we're working hard. And today's video makes that just a little bit more difficult. So let's start here. This is the James Copenhaver film, and we're just going to watch this little chunk here where you can see Crooks clearly running across the roof in that red circle. He disappears for a second. Don't worry, we're going to analyze this almost frame by frame to make sure we understand what it's telling us. And it goes to there and then just stops. Now, really wish we had the before, and we just need a little more. If that's all he shot, that's great, but if there's more to this, we need every single frame of this film. One more time. He's running across, we're not sure which roof, but I'm pretty sure we can tell you he's not on Building 6 yet. He disappears from view, comes back up. Now he is on Building 6. This is where the shots were taken from. We have a lot of audio analysis to go with this as well. We have a site reconstruction where I'm pretty sure we have everything in a 3D CAD model right now that will explain everything. So we'll get there eventually. Now, yep, that's James Copenhaver filming there. Edward Baker sent me this picture. That's him in the white shirt circled there. That's amazing. This is actually the video taken from Fox News. So Fox News, if you're watching this, please, please, please release those extra seconds. We need it. I understand you maybe edited this down or just took a clip that showed what you wanted it to show, but we desperately need to know if there's anybody else on the roof, before, after, during, how long he was up there. Because as we look at this, well, he comes across. I showed you that still from the lady there, and I'll show you that they run to here, and then they cut right just after about, comes as done. So that's it. That's the end. So that's all we have. So what are we looking at here? All right. This is the first frame where you can clearly see he pops up. So that's our first orientation of the Copenhaver video where we can see Crooks, okay? And if we step through this piece by piece, we start here. He's got his very first appearance here, and I've got the time indicated. Oh, I'm going to get my tool out here. He starts here. He runs across the roof. We can clearly see him right here. He disappears for almost exactly 6 seconds. So he runs across from here and then appears to duck down. I think we have an explanation for that. Of course, he's running across the roof, and then there are those little what would you call them? They're just the connectors between the buildings. I call them the causeway, but there's those connectors, and they're down a little bit and up a little bit. If you watch the video of the Beaver County helmet cam person, they had to climb down and climb back up again. That's my explanation for that disappearance. It's exactly where you would expect that causeway to show up. And then he reappears, and we see 4 more seconds of him in frame here. And then this is roughly 3 minutes before any shooting starts. We'll show you the whole stitch together by Milk Bar TV. It's astonishing. Did such an incredible job so we can get a complete understanding of what was actually going on. I think we can account for all of it now. All right. Frustratingly, the video stops with Crooks still visible again. If anybody's got more frames of this, we need those desperately. And as well, we would love to get our hands on the raw, uncompressed, full frame. I understand it's a telephoto shot. It's been zoomed in. It's going to be a little grainy and blurry, but if we have the raw film, we have a better chance of stitching it together and making it into something a lot cleaner than what we're seeing. But no matter, this comports with everything else we've seen from the Dave Stewart film, right, which is taken just in front of this building over here. Dave Stewart would be about right down here with the red dots making its motions right here, filming up. Also sees him there, but only just before the shooting starts. So if this film ran longer, we see Crooks pop his head up. He goes down. We'll explain why in a second. And then he comes back up and pops up. And we see him in the Stewart film 5.3 seconds before the shooting begins. So let's break this down a little bit more. First, let's just watch it a couple more times, just so you're really oriented, so everybody knows what we're looking at. There he is. He runs across. We see him right in front of that building. He disappears. We count about 6 seconds. He's just missing, pops back up over there. You see how he's jumped now all the way from here, where he disappears, and he pops back up again over here. Now, again, our explanation for that, which we'll play this while we're talking so that you can just keep watching this. So we're watching him disappear and goes out of view and pops back up again. That's because he's climbing down into that causeway, that little down step, and then back up the step. And maybe, I can't tell from this video, maybe he's also got his backpack on as he's running. I can't tell. He would take it off, presumably, and shuck it right there after, or maybe he takes it off before he climbs up on the roof, throws it on the roof, comes up, scopes out the whole situation, takes a look, and then, in my theory, he climbs back down or crawls back down to his backpack and removes his weapon, which has been disassembled. It's in 2 pieces, and so he's got to reassemble it, and we'll show you the video that I think fits with that very nicely as an idea. Okay, so all of these first shots, this is Copenhagen. Oh gosh, get your laser pointer. This is Copenhagen here. This is the hydraulic line that's hit right here and sprays out. This is the railing that a shot pinged off of, and I think it actually pinged. I have a new video I'm trying to source very carefully, so into thin air. If you've got it, please let me know, because I think it bounces off the railing right between these 2 gentlemen, and of course, this gentleman in blue here is David Dutch, and he was also injured. So all the shots that we have that we can track are clustered right there. And then if you drew lines from them up past Trump's ear, you know where you end up is pretty much exactly where we see Crooks. So this is starting to come together pretty nicely. We're getting it. So let's track Crooks' movement, because this is a lot depends on this. How did he get into position? So we have this awesomely convenient alignment to work with right here, which is that the corner of this big old building, which is actually building 1 in AGR's terminology. This is their main building. The first one you would see if you're driving into the facility from the north, and you come into their main parking lot. That's the big building right there. We can see a lot of identifying features. The vent stack up top. We've got here the telephone pole with a couple of transformers on it. And over here would be the parking lot where everybody is parked and running around. And then this is building 6, which oddly enough, right beneath, this is a place where we know that we had a lot of law enforcement officers in there. So first question is, running on a metal roof typically makes a good amount of noise for people inside. So that should have been a clue to somebody in there. But at any rate, let's work with this corner alignment for now. We have 4 vent stacks here. This, I'm going to call this the 1, 2. This is the 3rd vent stack over. And this corner.
All right, so that's a really good report. It's probably about a half hour. He probably did several of those types of reports the past week. So you can find Chris over on his YouTube page. You just search Peak Prosperity. If you're a Grand Theft World member, you can go to the show card and click and get to that video directly. Also, I wanted to close the loop. There's a couple open loops. As far as being able to bring clips from real-time production and get the stuff from the past and put it into the real-time production, that has always been arduous. You got to go find the clip. You need other resources to do it, all these sort of things. The Clip Genie demonstration that we just is part of the show because members are clipping together using Clip Genie, this valuable intersection of information, right? Like at any given time, I told you a little bit about the Terror Factory, FBI, and their manufacturer war on terror. But when you put them all together, that was a nice condensed little summary. People kind of get the point, right? And so if Chris Martenson, for instance, was talking about mRNA during the pandemic, it'd be a nice little montage to put all those little facts together, right? And so I got to meet Chris last year. He was at the Porcupine Freedom Festival with Evie. I made them both porterhouse steaks, so I'm sure Chris remembers me. And we did have a short talk about 9/11 AIG, Marcia McLennan, while I was working with my son. We had a little father-son business doing laser etching. But I'd like to talk more in depth. And at some point, I'm sure we will get to talk. Now, as far as being able to take an idea, present it, remove doubt, these sort of things that we were talking about with the autonomy offer earlier tonight. If you take what Jack Spirko said in that whole podcast that I referenced, and you listen to that, you know, he defined sales as the transfer of belief from one person to another. The way I teach it, it's knowledge, understanding, wisdom, experience being transferred from one to another. It's the removal of doubt through education and transparency, through communication, through small transactions that are reflective of a reality that build trust. Those types of things, like I don't have to transfer my belief to Chris that this might benefit him. If he saw that clip, he would see how it would benefit him. If Jack saw that clip, he would see how it would benefit his operation. Having so much content and having it only a few keystrokes away, either for you or for your audience, to start building these more condensed blocks. Like we've been making bricks. This is like now you can throw a wall out there on social media, and those walls that we can throw out there can smash the illusions that the other side's trying to cast on the minds of our audiences. So just as a step toward the anti-gaslighting movement, I think that Clip Genie is a good place to start letting your fingers do the typing and getting these types of condensed idea montages out there, because social media is a perfect place. And the mainstream media has no defense against these memes of truth being compiled. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say big shout out to Occult Priestess. Great job using that tool. I love how you just really took those clips and really made a fun, engaging, exciting video. Like you just nailed it. That's like exactly what it's meant to do. And I will say this too. So we actually got a new logo package. So we kind of swapped logos around a little bit. And the watermark, if you go, we did, Dean just updated it yesterday to where if you download a video now, it's a little more subtle, a little more clean looking logo that just says Clip Genie and a little logo in the corner. It's not as like in your face. So it's going to make your videos that you generate look a lot more clean and professional. So there you go.
Well, I'm glad you guys stepped up to that.
Yeah.
Because she's nice enough to throw your logo on those videos.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. Amazing. Yeah. That was I already texted Dean and like, dude, check it out. We got another live, like, you know, in the wild example of use case of Clip Genie. So yeah, very cool. Great job. Great job.
Twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week course. It teaches leadership, entrepreneur skills, executive skills, all these types of things that I saw were taken out of our education system in order to make the schooling or indoctrination system that we've all probably went through. And it has served us well enough to be interchangeable cogs in the machine of the globalists. But if we want a homestead, if we want write our own ticket, work from home job, work from anywhere type of situation, they're not exactly handing those out at the end of college. They give you a piece of paper and they're like, good luck. So reality is dropping us off here, but the demands of reality are up here. So I created Autonomy to help people close that gap for themselves so they can level up their skills to the demands of the situations that life is putting in front of us presently. life's demands of intellect and understanding precision and complexity are ever increasing. The schooling didn't prepare us for it. The media is not going to do anything but reinforce what schooling prepared us for. And so we're going to have to take a leadership position and take steps off the beaten path to kind of blaze our own trail in life. What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man. Come